Hi, it's Katrina! Folklore was historically used as a way for explaining things humans didn't otherwise understand, but has since become a defining aspect of cultural identities throughout the world. From guardians of dark forests to mischievous fairies out to trick you or grant wishes, here are 8 fascinating mythical creatures from Scotland. This video was requested by Megan Medina. She says, "Your videos of mythology are truly great. Could you do a video on the mythical creatures of Scotland?" Sure can, and here it is, although I'm not making any promises about the pronunciation. I'll do my best. Thanks, Megan. Let me know your video requests in the comments or send me a message on Instagram at Katrina Explained. Number 8. Ghillie Dhu. The Ghillie Dhu is a tree guardian spirit native to Scotland's dark forests. He's just 3 feet tall and wears outfits made of moss and foliage. Some people consider him to be an elf, while others think of him as a fairy. He has hazel eyes and dark hair, and his skin tone alternates between brown and green with the seasons. The Ghillie Dhu diligently guards the birch tree, using his camouflage attire to mimic branches and ensnare and crush anyone who threatens it. If you leave his beloved birch trees alone, the Ghillie Dhu is rather docile and pleasant-natured. In some cases, he's even a hero. While he prefers to be left alone by humans and generally avoids interacting with them, the Ghillie Dhu willingly makes exceptions for children who are lost in the woods. The Ghillie Dhu migrated out of Scotland as the forests he called home were increasingly depleted, relocating to North America, Australia, and New Zealand. He switched careers in these new lands, and instead of protecting birch trees, he now watches over farms, ranches, outback stations, and public parks. Number 7. Ben Nighe. Ben Nighe is Scottish Gaelic for washerwoman or laundress. This female spirit is a bansith or a banshee. As you know, she's famous for her terrifying screaming. She appears as a homely old woman clad in green and haunts streams and rivers where she washes the blood-soaked clothing of people who are about to die. If you are on your way to battle, you might see her huddling over the water, and as you get closer, you might see your own clothes being washed. You don't want to meet her, but people have tried. The Ben Nighe is small with a hooked nose, 1 giant nostril, a single tooth protruding from her mouth, and a sagging bosom. In some variations of the myth, her breasts get in the way while she's doing laundry, so she simply throws them over her shoulder. Wow, attractive, especially with that single tooth, yikes. But they can also appear as a beautiful woman, so don't be fooled. She's regarded as an omen of death and someone you generally want to avoid. Legend has it that the Ben Nighe is the spirit of a woman who died during childbirth and who is forced to repeatedly carry out the tasks she performed until she met her untimely end. Those brave enough to confront the Ben Nighe may receive useful knowledge or have their wishes granted, but this must be done cautiously and in a specific way. You have to quietly approach her without being seen while she washes clothes in the stream, and then claim to be her foster child. Once this is done, the Ben Nighe will impart any wisdom the individual desires. To get 3 wishes from the spirit, you'll have to be a little more daring and actually grab her. In addition to granting wishes, she'll reveal the identity of anyone you know who will perish in the near future. Number 6. Cailleach. In Scotland, the Cailleach is also called Beara, Queen of Winter. She appears as an old, blue-faced hag. Her stature ranges from that of a colossal giant to the size of an average woman, depending on the story. This goddess of the Highlands is the personification of winter and the protector of wildlife, and she's often credited with creating mountains and hills. According to one tale, these landforms came to be when rocks fell out of Beara's wicker basket and onto the ground below. Another story holds that she created the hills and mountains deliberately as her stepping stones, and that she carries a hammer for the specific purpose of shaping the landscape. She also carries a magical staff, which freezes the ground and brings snow and frost as she leaps from one hilltop or mountain to another. Between May and November, she turns to stone and rests until cooler temperatures return. While Beara typically doesn't cause problems for humans, she is the guardian of animals and will lead hunters away from game, often causing them to get lost and freeze to death. One of her methods for doing this is to simply appear as herself and scare the hunters off. Number 5. Black Donald. Black Donald is one of many names given to the devil in northern Scotland. In his true form, he's a goat, and his voice is rumored to be unbearable to listen to, since it is like the bleating of a goat but trying to make words, and sometimes those things squeal. But he takes on many disguises, including that of an old man in a black suit. One witness claimed that he's crop-eared and drags a chain, which makes a clunking sound. Regardless of Black Donald's appearance, his cloven feet are a dead giveaway to his identity. He's good at everything except sewing, because when he comes around, the local tailor shop closes. Who can blame them for not wanting to deal with him? Besides being a jack of most trades, Black Donald enjoys executing dark deeds, often purely for his own amusement. He frequently appears at card games by entering through the chimney, feet first. A card player whose game was crashed by Black Donald described him as having hooved horse-like feet, which someone noticed when they bent down to pick a card up off the floor. When Black Donald's presence was discovered, he escaped back up the chimney in a cloud of smoke. Another one of his favorite activities is haunting buildings for the sole purpose of scaring people. Black Donald grants a wish to those who perform a special ceremony summoning him, so good luck! Number 4. Uisge. The term Uisge means water horse in Scottish Gaelic, and this creature is indeed a supernatural equine being. It has shape-shifting abilities, enabling it to transform between being a majestic horse, a man, and a giant bird. The Uisge lives in seas and freshwater lochs and is often mistaken for the Kelpie, a shape-shifting water horse who dwells in rivers and streams. Not only are Kelpies different from the Uisge, they are not as dangerous. It preys on both humans and cattle and is lured from the water by the smell of roasting meat. When the Uisge is in horse form, you can try to ride it, but it's only safe to ride inland. If it smells, sees, or otherwise detects water, the rider becomes stuck to it, and it carries the individual into the deepest part of the water where they drown. Then it rips it apart and eats the victim, leaving only their floating liver behind. In human form, it is a very attractive man. The water weeds in its hair are the only telltale sign that it is not truly a human. People are encouraged to be cautious around men and horses who are alone near the water. You know, just in case. But the good news is it isn't always bad. In one legend, it is a guardian who guides the spirits of the deceased into the afterlife. But that can still be creepy too. Number 3. The Trow. One of the most well-known and widespread creatures in Shetland and Orkney Island folklore are ugly, mischievous, and unpleasant little creatures called Trows. Trows are too small to be considered humans in most tales, but can pass as elderly or unusually small people in others. Like many fairies, they are allergic to iron. They live in earthen mounds decorated in gold, silver, and other precious metals, and where only the finest food and drink is brought to the dining table. These creatures have an affinity for song and dance, often enticing mortal fiddlers to their lairs to join in the festivities. If a visitor is lucky, a Trow may gift them with monetary wealth or a magical talent. The oldest tales classify Trows as nocturnal beings who never emerge during daylight and are often invisible when they come out at night. Trows are sometimes only visible in certain circumstances. In one account of Trow folklore, a man only sees them when he holds his wife's hand or places his foot on hers. Trows are known for being frequent nighttime household visitors who sit by a family's fireside after they've gone to bed. Even if the household members can't see the Trows, they can hear them moving around. It's almost always best to avoid them if possible. Number 2. Red Cap. Of all the Scottish mythical beings, the red cap is by some measures the most fearsome and evil. This wiry small creature looks like an old man with skinny taloned fingers, long pointed teeth, fiery red eyes, and long hair. He wears iron boots, carries a pike staff, and wears a red hat, which gained its color from being dipped in victims' blood. Legend has it that a red cap perishes if his cap dries up, meaning he must frequently soak it and must therefore also seek new victims. The red cap kills for fun, haunts ruined castles along the Anglo-Scottish border, and hurls stones at resting travelers in an effort to kill them. Human strength has no effect on the red cap, who demonstrates unnatural power for his size. Reciting scripture and/or bearing a crucifix cause him to erupt into flames, leaving behind a single tooth. Have you noticed this one-tooth theme? As with many mythical creatures, there are different versions of the red cap. In one myth, he grants those he encounters with good fortune. That's a switch. The term red cap also sometimes refers to fairies in a more general sense, including benevolent ones, so things can get a bit confusing. But what mythology doesn't? Number 1. The Sluagh. In both Irish and Scottish folklore, the Sluagh are very dangerous spirits from the Highlands who represent the restless and unforgiven dead. They're among the foulest and vilest of fairies, symbolizing the spirits of people who were welcome in neither heaven nor hell, or on Earth. The Sluagh have been around for thousands of years, and in many cases, people fear them more than death itself. With little else to do besides linger in limbo, these creatures are pretty destructive. They fly in flocks into the houses of people who are close to death and steal their souls, always approaching from the west. To prevent an invasion, west-facing windows were often kept shuttered. The common view of the Sluagh changed along with the introduction of Christianity to the region. People began seeing them as the spirits of unforgiven and unrepentant sinners. Despite this shift in perception, the Sluagh continued preying upon the same thing as before. Thanks for watching! So many creatures, so little time. Which creature was your favorite? What other world mythology would you like to learn about? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye!